Kia ora koutou, no mai whakarongo mai to my next guest. We have an incredible kaupapa that we're going to platform today, but we have lovely Jase and Kenisha in studio. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Nice to have you guys in and talk about this incredible Puāwai Project, but we will first introduce what Hauora Aotearoa is, I guess, first, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it. What is that charity?
Hauora Aotearoa is a mental health charity. It's based in secondary schools. I feel like the two things that set it apart from, there's lots of mental health charities out. Most people probably know I Am Hope. But the thing that separates us is we're trauma-informed with a Māori framework called Te Whare o Oro. So we meet, what that really means is we meet the rangatahi where they're at. Whereas our education system, I feel, especially for our Māori and Pasifika, doesn't meet them where they're at. It's very top-down, we're very bottom-up, and we tailor-make the program for whoever's in front of us. And then the second thing that separates us is that we use te whare tapawha as well, which is, most people know, a beautiful, like whale whono, is a 4-part holistic well-being framework that we see really works beautifully, especially for the mental health of our rangatahi that we work with.
Of course, that's incredible. And it's just sort of like using more of that mātauranga Māori to approach these kaupapa and how mental health, especially in the youth and the rangatahi, is sort of, attacked and coming up with more solutions. On top of that, you've got this Puāwai Project underneath that, which is an incredible summit coming up on October 9th. And this is a cool summit that is really driving this kaupapa, right? What are we kind of expecting from this summit?
It's a day of wānanga, it's a day of kōrero, it's a day of sharing ideas. Nā rangatahi, mā rangatahi. It's important for me that this summit, this day, is created by our rangatahi, for our rangatahi, and I like to say I'm the kaitiaki or uncle who found some funding to be able to put this on and is providing a platform, you might say, in Wanganui. And the main, the puāwai, the kupu puāwai comes from the whakataiki poipoi a te kākano kia puāwai, which means nurture the seed so that it can bloom and blossom. And the seed that we're talking about in this particular instance on the day of the summit is the seed of whakaaro, of thought, the seed of sharing kōrero that will enrich our rangatahi that come and hopefully provide them with enough inspiration to take better care of their mental health. They'll walk away with a physical kete of goodies, but hopefully a heart full of goodies, a mind full of goodies that they can use whenever things get tough.
That's fantastic. And Kenisha, you yourself are super proactive in this kaupapa, already being a rangatahi yourself, which is incredible. Why do you think these solutions kind of need to come a little bit with like the opinions and with the collaboration of rangatahi?
When we're looking at supporting rangatahi in what they go through and how we can best support them, it logically makes the most sense to, hear from them. And it's great to see them lead the change they want to see in the world, because how else are we supposed to see that?
Exactly. Yeah. So true. Because it's like, as much as, I guess, as older generations, I would like to not rip myself too far into that, but a little bit. Even the landscape of high school and, what rangatahi are looking at these days and the issues that are kind of pressing at them has completely changed in like a small generation. I would say I was only in school like 12 years ago, and that shift has been crazy. So it's like to be able to talk to the rangatahi, see what they need and see like where we can help them best in this mental health space, just seems like such a collaborative idea in it, and it's necessary for that. You guys have also been pushing this kaupapa whiu i te rākau kōrero, passing the mic, the rākau kōrero. We always joke that this little bear is our rākau kōrero. when things get a bit heated.
What's its name?
We actually don't have, we haven't named him yet. We need to.
Over there.
Yeah. But like, what is the importance of passing this mic over to other people and I guess giving them the opportunity to speak?
I'll speak from a pakeke perspective.
Yes.
How this all came about really is last year I was lucky enough to speak at Festival for the Future, which is a big rangatahi festival in Te Wanganui Atara where I live. And I was one of the last keynote speakers, and I went early and I just immersed myself in the whole festival. What struck me, and actually I was gobsmacked by this, is the whole time rangatahi were creating their own solutions to some pretty big stuff going on. Yeah. And so by the end of it, I was like, why even am I here? Yeah, I'm here to talk about...
Do you guys see me?
Yeah, no, really, that's exactly how I felt. And as part of my kōrero, I did a Vox Pops and went around, and I had two pātai. One was, how do you know when you're not well mentally? Because I was speaking about mental health for rangatahi. And do you know what to do? And with all the rangatahi that I spoke to just in the breaks and stuff, they all knew the signs of when they're not well mentally. And then they balked at the answer on the spot to, maybe I don't know what to do, or they just were like, I've got some things, but not really. Then I had the kōrero, and then those same kids came back to me and said, actually, I've got my answer now. They had time to go away and think about it. And their answers were beautiful, were so beautiful and natural and very rangatahi based. Like one kohine, one young lady said, I go to the urupa and I talk to my nanny. That made me cry. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And dang, that's an amazing answer. One tāne, one of the boys, he came back the next day too, and his answer to me was, I journal, but I didn't want to say that because he knew it was being videoed and would be shown in my keynotes. Yeah. I said, do you know how powerful that could have been for other people? Rangatahi? So he did a video on his Instagram and shared it and tagged me in it. I was like, no, that's courage right there.
Massively.
So this whole kaupapa exists because, like, poi at the kākano kia Puāwai, I wanted to give our rangatahi an opportunity to have their whakaaro blossom. We have amazing individuals like Kenisha who have been on our podcasts. Thank you. Where they get to share their amazing solutions to stuff that is going on for them in their life. That's what Whiua Te Rākau Kōrero is about. Yeah. Give them the mic, pass it over. You don't need Uncle to tell you what to do. You've got your own answers. I can ask some cool questions to bring those answers out of you. And I'll leave it at that.
To facilitate. I love that. And then in speaking about that, Kenisha, you've been working a lot on, I guess, ways to recognise like subtle racism in environments that you're in. Why was that like a kaupapa that you were passionate about?
It was a kaupapa I was passionate about through the experiences of my own individual prejudice that I faced, but also seeing the things around me is what inspired that. And that's kind of the bulk of it. But what was also a major part of why I'm passionate about it is that there's a lot of things systemically which do discriminate against certain ethnic groups, and it didn't make sense to not point those things out. And it was it was really cool to get this opportunity to, found a kaupapa that looks at, helping people cope with the experiences that they have, but also doubling as an advocacy platform to say, these systems disadvantage us and these systems don't help with what we're going through. So
what's the source of this issue and what you're seeing in your day-to-day, and especially with, like, I guess the current Aotearoa hou, in a sense, of so multicultural and diverse. Like, this is not something that is affecting a minority anymore. This is such a large amount of people that are affected by it. So it's cool to know that the rangatahi are sort of being proactive and already looking to change that, because I'm sure a lot of us older people, we dealt with it and we were just kind of, carried on because there wasn't really much we could do. But now the voices are being heard and the solutions are being made and getting put into action with this incredible kaupapa, I guess, across the board. And when we go back to the Puāwai Summit, are these like all of these sort of the, I guess, kaupapa of the day, of the wānanga, of the kōrero that we'll be having about the different, I guess, mainstream issues that rangatahi are facing, in a sense?
100%. How this all started, and this is where I got to meet the wonderful Kenisha, was we put out a call out to rangatahi and said, you know, what is a mental health problem that you're facing personally?
Yeah.
2, what's your solution? Then if we were to give you $500 as a little Kickstarter, what would you do with that $500 if you had the opportunity to create a kaupapa around your solution? And then the 2 parts after that, the follow-up, were, would you be okay to talk about that on a podcast? So that naturally those became the themes for the 10 episodes that we have for our podcast. And then those same 10 that we chose have been invited to speak at the summit. So the summit is really just, I suppose, from the initial idea to the getting the startup funding to being on the podcast to now speaking it out to rangatahi or peers. That's the blooming. That's the Puāwai in action on the summit day, and really proud that this one. Can I just say, like, Kenisha, out of all of the podcast episodes, to me, when I sat there, similar to what you're doing, and was asking her questions that she wanted to explore for the podcast episode, really, really struck me on like 2 things. She's so brave to speak about something that I know and have seen in schools in our kaupapa impacts lots of, especially young women, but also had a solution to it.
Didn't just complain about it, just
No, and or victimize it, but owned it and was like brave enough to talk about it. It was tricky at times, eh?
Yeah, it was.
But that was powerful. I think, you know, hearing it from a rangatahi point of view is and has been powerful. We've had great feedback about her episode.
That's fantastic. What were some of the things that you mainly touched on, Kenisha?
Oh my God, it was so long ago. Sorry. No. It was amazing to have that opportunity to speak on, you know, the issue that it is and how it could be dealt with on like a mental health level, which is incredibly important to recognize. Because it's not like something that is like easy to process at such a young age. I had someone reach out to me because they wanted to help out with my kaupapa, and when I asked her, it was like a written question. When I asked her about her experience with racism, she went on this tangent about how she didn't experience racism, but she had, you know, heard comments that were directed at her which had undertones of racism. I'm like, and then I had to sit down and have a talk with her. I was like, babe.
I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. It's racist.
So yeah, and that's what the Puāwai Project was supposed to do. It's supposed to inspire that thought. It was supposed to inspire those, you know, meaningful conversations. And even if I haven't done something crazy and like impressive with my kaupapa, I've at least, you know, started conversation with people I'm around and people who, you know me and are listening in. So yeah,
and that's the domino effect. You speak to one person, they speak to other people, you start the conversation is now normalized, and all of a sudden, you know, it's something that we're actually properly addressing, and enough people have sort of said that it's affecting them to make change. So that's big impact.
And can I share from a back-end point of view, as we've had rangatahi speak about not just Kenisha's episode, well, all of the episodes, that they feel seen through seeing other rangatahi speak up about a thing that they thought that they were going through in an isolated incident. Just I'm the only one who's going through racism or bullying or anything like that. So that's what I mean around her courage, and our other rangatahi in this project, how courageous I feel they are to come forward, speak about big things that matter to our rangatahi if it, like I said before, if it was said by an adult, it wouldn't be as impactful. But when you're hearing it from really on the ground, it's bottom up and it's super powerful.
That's fantastic. Well, we cannot wait for this summit, October 9th in Whanganui. You can get your tickets already online at the Puāwai Project. It's going to be an incredible day by the sounds of it. A lot of wānanga, a lot of learning, and a lot of opportunities.
Can you come?
I will try. I feel like I can. I only get...
Can we arrange it? We'll
I only
arrange
plan a week ahead, and then I'm like, no, October 9th seems free right now.
No.
So that would be amazing. I would honestly love that. And then, of course, we can tune into that podcast as well as a resource, which is great. You also have an M3 video library and an M3 whānau app. If anyone needs those resources, where can we find them, Jase?
Kia ora, Hauora Aotearoa.com. You can get access to everything that you just mentioned there, as well as learn about the Puāwai Summit that's coming up and get tickets, and there's some scholarships that we're offering as well. So if you can't get there or you're finding it hard to get there, the scholarship could be a way to get there.
Stunning. Incredible. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. Tēnā kōrero.
Thank you for having us.
Kia ora.